what do you do when something isn't working out? When you're in that moment of stress and anxiety, like in this, the perfect storm is what I call it. What do you do? You know, and how does that build your character? How does that, you know, get you to relate to God in that moment? And I think in those moments when you're just crying or hysterical, that's the time where, for me, I feel the most connected to God, because now I know that I have no control. Nothing I did worked. I'm already here.
Yep.
You know, so now I have to depend on you because I have no one else. And there's a certain level of intimacy that I don't think we get until we're in that place. So I almost feel like sometimes God gives you those faith testing moments so that you can get that intimacy that you probably would not even think on a regular every day to go and be with Jesus, be with Christ about.
Right.
Yeah, that reminded me of the quote. Well, it's just a silly little quote, but when you're down to nothing, God is up to something.
Right? There's so many cute ones. Or like, oh, your setback is your comeback. Yeah, like they have all the great ones.
When you're down and out, that's when God is working in you, like what you're saying, when you're like crying and just there's just nothing you could do, you're so sad, that's when God is just like right there with you through it all, even though we don't feel it. That's when he's the strongest.
I truly believe that.
Did you want to say, I know you guys were listening, did you want to maybe mention or elaborate more on that?
Oh, sure, absolutely. I mean, like I mentioned, I truly believe that, you know, when you feel upset and you feel like we mentioned, like you're down and out and you feel like you have nowhere else to go, you know, God is always watching over you. Like you mentioned, you know, he always has a plan for all of us. And he's always there for you, and even in times when you just feel like, you know, what else can I really do? I mean, you really just got to just take a moment and just pray and talk to him and just say, you know, God, you know, I need your help right now. And he's going to listen. He's going to listen, and he's going to guide you down the right path. He will never, ever guide you down the wrong path.
Yeah, he's got GPS. We don't, so just let it go.
Do you have a particular story that that reminded you of that, like what you're saying in your life that you could think of?
I mean, I think, you know, obviously when I was in college, you know, college can be very, very stressful for a lot of people. You know, trying to graduate in 4 years, trying to decide what you want to do, and hopefully eventually get a job right out of school. And I think for me, you know, going to a big university like Penn State and coming from a very small high school, you know, my high school graduating class was only 100 students.
And then you went to Penn State?
I went to Penn State, yes.
Culture shock, for sure.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
it was a
definitely.
big culture shock.
Yeah.
Going to a place like Long Island and going to farmland.
Nice.
That's
Opened your eyes a bit. Great experience to have, though. I think everyone should.
But no, all kidding aside, I absolutely loved it there. And, I mean, it was a big culture shock. Because you're going from this tiny high school to a big university with 40,000 plus students. You know, and there were times I was in class with 200-300 students. You know, there was no one-on-one with the professor. There was no talking to the professor one-on-one. And a lot of times if I was struggling, you know, I'd be like, okay, what can I do? I mean, I can't just go up to the professor. I can't just, like, interrupt class. And, you know, a lot of times I was at the point where, you know, I felt like, you know, maybe college really isn't for me. And at times I felt like, can I really do this? And that's when I really started to, you know, just at night before I went to bed, just turn my TV off, turn my phone off, turn my computer off, where it was just me and God. And there was nobody else around. And I just, you know, but deep down I just said, you know, God, I really need you right now. Please help guide me, and you know, down the route I want to go, and help, you know, talk to me, tell me what I can do to help improve. And he listened, and he helped me a lot. He said, you know, Brian, you love sports. You know, I think sports management is the route for you to go to. And I listened to him, and he helped me guide that. He helped me graduate in 4 years. And without
Clap for that.
That is amazing.
Very nice.
Without his help, I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, deep down, I know I could have done it, but he was always there to help me, and I love him every day, and I talk to him every day. So
Oh,
I love that story. That is awesome.
Thank you.
No, I mean, that's pretty much, I think, the point on college campuses, and I feel like that's why it's so important to have campus ministry, because there's students like Brian, who you feel lost. You ultimately feel lost, and especially if you're coming from a different background, and you come to this, you're dropped into this, tens of thousands of students, and you don't know where to go. And I remember being, I graduated from Fordham, and I remember feeling that way, and I didn't know where to go, and my place to go was campus ministry. It was Father O'Connell, who I love, and I always scream his name, but you don't know where to go, and you go in and you're just crying. At least I was crying. I don't know if you were crying, Brian.
No.
But you were tougher than me. But I was in there, and he just guided me, and it's that prefix. It's that kind of steering you on a path and letting you know that you can pray. You can have that experience that Brian is having. That kind of guides you. So I applaud all the campus ministers at all the universities, because sometimes you're in secular campuses. Like right now, I was just saying to you, Hofstra's a secular campus, and we're having Mass next to Nathan's and Subway's in a dining room. So it's like a side of Christ, some fries, and some hot dogs, preferably after Mass. But no, so it's like, that's where you need to be. That's that mission territory, and that's where the students are, and that's where they're struggling. So you got to be in the thick of it.
Yeah. As for me, I'm just thinking as a college student, you could feel alone and like lonely, and even though you're surrounded by all these people, you don't really sometimes feel connected, or you want to feel loved and you belong. But sometimes it could be like, okay, I go to class, I do my homework, whatever, I go to sleep, and then it's just such a dreariness that I think that's what kind of also led me to campus ministry, and just kind of like, no, I want more. Like, I want to be fulfilled. I want to have that connection with people who also think that Christ is cool, and just that God loves me, and so that's kind of what guided me to campus ministry too. And
that's awesome. Yeah,
it was on a practical level, just a place to kind of hang out in between classes. There was like a couch there.
Yeah,
and
listen, we have my students know there's a couple of couches. They're either sleeping on it, crying on it, or laughing on it.
Sleeping, yes.
But I make sure and have some goodies, some sweets, some stuff in there to keep them hydrated and amped up for the day. But no, I mean, that's the start. I think for me, when I was younger and I was going to Fordham, I went in for the free pizza. I don't know about anybody else, but they had free pizza. So I was like, spend money in Manhattan instead of eating something free, I'll go get that free pizza. And it just so happened that, there was Bible study, or there was a priest there, and you have questions. And it was funny because at the time, my friend was just a regular guy. Now he's a priest in Rome. But I just knew, he had a good nature, a good spirit that I could relate to. So there's different things that call you in there. But whatever it is, I don't think it's by chance. I don't think it's by mistake. I think it's something that gives you that kind of peace that you need in the sea of craziness. And I always tell people, like, hone into that. That's a radio frequency. You got to turn out all the other noise and kind of go where your spirit feels that peace and welcomeness. So
that you keep returning to it.
Yeah,
And I think that's like Lent right now. One of the themes are like return to God, and just kind of just come. So that's
Bishop Barris, he said that. In any place that he's spoken in many letters that he's given out, but he definitely spoke at it at Hofstra and said the same thing. Return to Mass with a different level of understanding. Even if you are, used to coming every week. I was just saying, even as myself as campus ministers, we're pretty much thinking like, okay, well, that needs to be here. We're thinking of the layout, the setup. Our mind sometimes isn't even keyed into the homily because we're making sure all of our students are comfortable and welcomed, and the chaplain has what they need. But being at Mass and trying to experience it in a different cosmic way is really, just something that everyone can do, even if you go every single day. You have to not get caught up in the monotony, and he's telling you to bring a friend. Every single person that you have coming to Mass, challenge yourself to bring a friend for Lent, because you want to give that experience to someone else and just give that peace. I mean, there's a reason when you come into Mass that you kind of get quiet. It's quiet in there. It's a deafening silence that allows you to start to turn off everything that was going on and messing with your head before you walked in. And that peace is what you want to give to someone else when you bring them in, and I don't know if anybody else, but I would just go into St. Paul next to Fordham and just cry for a minute, walk back out,
You
whatever.
go back to class. I'm like, yes, I'm ready.
It was great. It was that moment of anxiety, and you give it away. You don't know you're giving it away. You just know that you need it to. It's like air out of a balloon. It has to come out at some point for you to be able to function and keep going the next hour or two for class, and that was helpful. So I encourage everyone to really, really hone into what Bishop John Barrett said is trying to experience Mass in a different way. Bring a friend. Because it's that level of peace that you need.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you were saying before. You turned off your computer and your phone and just kind of sat.
Absolutely.
And then you were able to hear God kind of telling you, I like sports, and just kind of continue with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and sometimes we just need that push or encouragement. Like, am I doing the right thing? Is this the right major for me?
Or taking the right path.
Yeah, yeah. What about you, Megan? For you?
So for me, I mean, stress and anxiety has been something that I've been dealing with on and off for, quite a while now. I mean, unfortunately for me, it kind of, it got a little worse as I'm getting older now. So of course I had it, stress, anxiety throughout school, and similar feelings that Brian went through, like questioning, like, I don't know if I can do this, and I feel like school's not for me, and I definitely had to like push myself, and it wasn't easy to get through everything through the 4 years, but I did, obviously.
Yes.
but now, I mean, everyone. Now for me, it's been a little rough the past few years since I finished school, because I had a path of what I wanted to do career-wise, and which is actually what I'm doing right now. And
future radio DJ.
Future
radio.
Going into radio broadcasting.
Right.
I did a show at Nassau Community College for over 4 years, and it's something I love. But, unfortunately, the industry it's tough. It is tough to get yourself in there. And, I'm looking at different options for me career-wise, because unfortunately, due to the struggle to get into radio, to make it through, to make a good living, it's rough. But the major I picked, I knew, like, just in case, if radio's not really gonna, if it's not working out and I see that I'm struggling, I have other options. So, I've been feeling lost, just trying to figure out what do I want to do career-wise, what will I enjoy, and, what I can be successful at. So, I feel lost, but I'm trying to speak to God and, have Him just, take me down the right path to what is, right for me. So, that's like where my like stress and anxiety is kind of, built on. So
I love that we have like all different situations in this room right now. I love that. I love that. You have Brian where he's like, I felt that I was in that moment, and I use that time to pray and to get that centering. And you have Megan who's like, I am in it right now as you speak. I am in that perfect storm.
This is like my perfect ideal, what I'm doing right now. So, but it's we have struggles, and it's hard to. Unfortunately, this industry, it is it's not easy. So I'm trying to figure out, what else do I like? What else am I good at? And, just, it's been just a lot of trying different things, figuring out, researching, looking up different industries, different areas, something that, will be good for me. But I think it's again, back to the whole, like, driving thing, like, kind of just letting go and just, like, God, you're gonna take the wheel, and you're gonna take me in the, get me to the right destination, and whatever is meant for me to do.
Right. And like you mentioned, Megan, it's always, God always has a plan.
Right.
And He's always gonna lead us down the right path. And we all heard the saying before: when one door closes, another one opens.
Exactly. I mean, it's hard to see right now. I'm just like. Like, this is what I really wanted, and I knew when I first started school, like, I mean, when I first started college, I went into the radio station on campus, and it was, like, this overwhelming feeling of, like, wow, this is it. This is what I want to do for, like, for the rest of my life, career-wise. It was just, like, that feeling that just came on me, but now that I'm kind of, in the real world, out of school, I'm seeing that it's not as easy as I thought it would be to make my way in. And I was building that up through interning and doing my show and getting that experience. And, sometimes it doesn't work out the way that you want to, or I was so, I'm going to, right away, like, I'm going to get in, but it's,
that reminds me of, so, we did March for Life at Hofstra, and we went to DC, and we had all the students come and be a part of that. And I met this priest there, and he gave me this amazing story that I hope you take something from it, Megan. He said, when I was younger, he was from Toronto. He said, I wanted to move to New York.
Right.
That was my biggest thing, was I want to move to New York. It's amazing. It's this, amazing skyline and all that good jazz. If anyone's from New York, you get so desensitized. You're like, it's great, but you're just kind of like, it's New York, It's
my amazing backyard.
It's like, what are you talking about? Anyway, but he said, I didn't know how I was going to end up there. And he said, now I'm a Franciscan priest, and I work in uptown, and I'm a part of the grittiest, craziest areas where a lot of people would not expect to end up when you think about, I'm going to come to New York.
Yeah.
You're thinking of Times Square, you're thinking of, all these beautiful posh places that we have as well in New York. And he said, I didn't think that when God answered my prayers, it would be in this way.
Right.
I saw it happening in a different way. He said, now my friends are like, oh my gosh, you live in New York. I want to come and visit you. I want to, come to your house. And I don't see the excitement that they do. I don't feel the same pizzazz that they do about New York. And it's just sometimes I think when we ask God for something, we have a way in our mind that we think this answer is going to be given to us.
Right.
Right.
We have built this, expectation of how it's going to look, how it's going to feel, how it's going to smell, what time it's going to happen, what age you're going to be. And it has nothing to do with what God's plan is. You are literally, if that's really what you want to do, you want to be in communications, you want to be in radio.
Right.
If that's what you've prayerfully thought about and came to terms with, you should stick with it without a doubt. But it's the way that it's going to happen that you're dealing with, that's giving you this stress and anxiety.
Exactly.
What
it's
time
not
is it
going the
supposed to
way that I would have liked it to.
Exactly. You're thinking how it's supposed to happen.
Right.
In the time span, Brian said the same thing. I wanted to get out in 4 years. You know, so it's like you have this idea on when it's going to happen. And I think that's where that peace comes in, when you just go, I know this is what I want to do, and I'm going to work hard at it, but I'm going to ask God to give me the strength and wisdom to accept His timing, His place, how He wants it to happen for me, and understand that all the lessons along the way are going to help build you up, not down. And it's like, I think, Caterina, if you remember when Joanne was speaking this weekend, she gave a good quote. She said, if I come and, I come to the seminary and I think about how beautiful it is, and I don't focus on the beautiful. If you guys haven't been to the Seminary of Immaculate Conception, you should. It's an amazing place. But if I focus on this little chip on the podium, and I only look at that, I'm only going to think, this place is falling apart. It could be better. The structure is just going. Instead of thinking about how beautiful the acres of land is, how it's great that you have a private bath in your suite. The beautiful people that you're meeting and the food that you're eating. It's about perspective too.
It is.
Like you have to look at the other things around you, even when you're not where you want to be.
Exactly.
So that you can make it to where you want to be. You're not going to take the next step if you're just thinking, this sucks. Like, I'm so miserable.
I know.
You have to look at, like, what are you getting at? You're here today.
I'm here,
And you're on a radio show. And
you're always saying yes to my invitation to come.
And like I told you before, I'm having thoughts of either trying to get back and doing my show. If it works out, it works out. But at least, I'm going to make that move to try.
Right.
And
that reminded me also of a Bible quote, if you don't mind. It's from Philippians chapter 4, verse 6. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. So that's really, I think, the key, and sums up what we were talking about, because it's also important to give thanks to God for the bad times, for whatever situation we're in, for the good things that happen, and just kind of have, or try to, at least. I know I struggle with it too. We always thinking the negative and like, this sucks, and we have to think, okay, at least I woke up this morning. At least I have food in my stomach, like, and all those basic things that really help your mood to
I mean, that's why I think at Hofstra we try to do mission trips throughout the year. So we're going to Camden, New Jersey at the end of this month, from the 20th to the 25th. Myself and Father Scalera are going to drive down to the Romero Center, and we're going to have about 5 students go with us. And I think it's that taking a step back from where you are in your current life and realizing, like, Camden, New Jersey, when I heard of it, sounded like an awesome name. I was like, oh, Camden, that's got to be like a great place.
Yeah.
You know, and I had no idea that it's the poorest city in the nation, highest crime rate in the nation. You know, right in our back door.
Really?
And we're
New
going,
Jersey?
yeah, New Jersey.
I didn't even think New Jersey
you would
be.
not think it. I'm thinking shopping malls. I'm thinking every celebrity goes and retire there. That's their little home, and you know, all these beautiful things is what you have projected in your mind. But that's a real thing that's going on, and it's something that I think if you step outside yourself, Megan, like, and you just look at other people's lives, and you're like, you know, I'm happy to wake up this morning.
Yeah, and
You know, our poor is maybe not having a steak, but you have a sandwich.
I mean,
Exactly.
You know?
I mean, when I hear about other struggles that people are going through, and you know what's going on in other countries, I really have to think about that more, because that it'll make me have a better perspective on my life, and you know, there's no to make me realize there's no need to be stressed. There's no need to be anxious. I mean, again, it's something I'm still working on.
You're not going to be perfect. When you're in the thick of it, it feels horrible. And that's that faith testing. That's that Christian character building moment that you have. But I think it's just great to have those experiences, because